The Villain's Demand reviews Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, written by Cullen Bunn and art by Dalibor Talajic.
Hey guys, this is The Villain's Demand. I'm Evan the Great. This is Justin Von Doom. This is Hero Man. Today we bring you another comic book review over Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. This book starts off and it's the Watcher. He's retelling a story of where it is right now. He starts off with Deadpool killing the Fantastic Four. You know, he's broke in, he's took out Johnny, Mr. Fantastic's already all stretched out, he hit him with something, and he's dying. Invisible Woman, I don't remember how he took out the thing, but Invisible Woman's there. He ends up defeating them, he gets the ultimate nullifier gun, and sneaks up on the Watcher, kills him. Of course he can see the Watcher because he knows he's in a comic, he knows all this. So he takes out the Watcher during all this. Then it flashes back to how it all began, and it's the X-Men bringing in Wade into Ravencroft, which is like an asylum for insane people. And there's this new doctor there. It's Dr. Benjamin Brighton. He's highly credited. All this. He thinks he can fix Wade. They bring him in there. They drop Deadpool off. Wolverine's not sure about it. Professor Xavier thinks it's the best thing. Dr. Benjamin ends up being Dr. Psycho. He's experimenting on Deadpool. He ends up getting rid of Deadpool's voices in his head, which we all know he has the white box, the yellow box. He gets rid of them, and then a new box manifests, which is the red box, and it's like the evil side of Deadpool. Deadpool ends up getting out. He kills Dr. Psycho, and then blows up the entire asylum with everybody in it. Just blows them up. Red Box convinces him that he needs to keep killing. He knows what he has to do. He has to release all these people from this torment that they're in. And so then Deadpool goes on a killing spree, and he shows up on the news how he's killing all these people, and all these people are worried about him. The Avengers start taking him as a big deal. So what's left of the Avengers, they get together and they have a meeting. In this meeting, they're talking about stopping Wade. Come to find out, Wade's already broke in, stole some PIM particles, planted an entire, like, whatever, arsenal of bombs on their table. But they're shrunk, and he makes them big all of a sudden, and then blows up the entire Avengers, the entire building, and it all crumbles down on them. They get up, some of them are still alive, and then they were eating some soup or drinking coffee. And he planted some bombs in that, and he blew them up inside the unbreakable skin types like Luke Cage. Got rid of them. He used the PIM particles on Thor's hammer to make it, when he threw it and he called it back, he made it huge and it smashed him. So that's how he took them out. He was able to take out Spider-Man. During this point, you realize he's able to take out some of these people because the writers are writing it that way. He actually mentions that. Like, the only reason this is happening is because the writers are writing it this way. Like, they want it to happen. So, you know, you kind of understand that he can still break the fourth wall even though he don't have his other voices, and he knows what's going on in the world, and this is why he's doing it. And then he goes to, he's got Charles tied up, and he has Charles Xavier call in the X-Men, which ends up being a trap set by Arcade, like a murder world, specifically built for the X-Men. And he uses this new murder world to take out a lot of the X-Men. Wolverine shows up. He's surprised Wolverine didn't die in the Avengers building when it crushed. He's able to take Wolverine out. He explains to Wolverine that it's not Wolverine's regeneration that keeps him alive, it's his popularity. And because the writers want it this way, he will be able to stop him, and just different stuff. He ends up taking out Wolverine. And then, where am I at?
Shits and giggles, kills the Punisher.
Yeah, and he kills, for just really shits and giggles, he kills the Punisher. The Punisher's trying to take him out. He sets the Punisher up. The Punisher thinks he kills him. He shows up in the room. He's behind him. He takes him out. During all this, Aunt May and a bunch of other people, like all the loved ones and the people that are dying, they hire Taskmaster to hunt down and kill Deadpool. Taskmaster, of course, takes it, and he's hunting Deadpool, and he talks about how Deadpool's always been hard to follow, but not this time. There's a trail of bodies. They end up, he finally catches him in the swamp. They start fighting. Comes to find out it was a trap.
to lure out Man-Thing. Man-Thing comes out, kills Taskmaster. He explains to Man-Thing what he's doing. Man-Thing understands it and kind of agrees with him. So he opens a portal to like all the timelines, like all of our realities. And Deadpool jumps in and he comes into our reality and he's about to kill his own creators. And they're writing it as it's happening and they don't know that it's really going to happen. And Deadpool's about to kill his own creators at the end of this book.
And what's great is Deadpool looks at us and tells us, you know, basically you're next.
Yeah.
I remember when this book as it come out, which I think this book would have been better weekly instead of monthly. I believe it was monthly, because when you're reading it, a lot of people weren't thrilled with it because Deadpool is doing the unthinkable. He's killing people he really shouldn't have no business killing.
Yeah.
And then if you're reading between the lines, you start to catch on that, oh, this is Deadpool's thing about breaking the fourth wall. This makes more sense because now he realizes it's in a comic and he can do whatever he wants. Basically, why? Because they're letting him.
Yeah.
And it makes the story really interesting, and it made it really likable towards the end. And as we talk about, this is what finishes up Deadpool's thing with the fourth wall.
Yeah, well, he still kind of breaks it, but it gets rid of his voices, and which is a huge part. This is the best part of Deadpool.
Yeah, and that's to me, this is what started to kill Deadpool off for me as a character. It took away what made him Deadpool.
Yeah, but about the knowing he's in a fourth wall, that also, I mean, breaking the fourth wall, that's also why he was doing it.
Yeah.
Because he understood that they're just puppets. They're just written to die and to get beat up and to suffer over and over and over. And so he's thinking he's releasing them.
Yeah, he thinks he's saving them.
Yes, and they don't know it, but he is, and that's his plan. He's trying to end it all. He'd rather not exist than have to just
over and over and over. Yeah.
And my take on the comic, it's kind of funny how they're talking about it, is because I read this comic, and then the next day I saw Hero Man, and I was like, man, I don't like it. I don't know how he fought this guy, killed this guy, did all this. And then he explains to me to go back and take another look at the book because he's doing that because he knows he's inside of a comic. I knew he was there. I just didn't put the two and two together. I didn't read between the lines very well. So then once I went back and I read between the lines and found out what he was really doing, it made the book to me a lot better product than what I thought first go around. I just like it. I like a lot of stuff because now it makes sense of how he defeated certain characters is because the writers wanted it that way. I really like that concept on the book, and I can understand why a lot of people didn't like it when it first came out because they probably didn't, just like I did. You read the book and you're just pissed off. I'm like, how do you beat Spider-Man or how do you beat Thor? And then when you read it and you kind of, you know, find out, hey, he's breaking the fourth wall. He knows that they're doing this so he can make it happen. It made it a lot better for me.
Made it make sense.
Still not a perfect book to me, but a good book. A lot better than what I thought it would be prior. The only thing I kind of have a little issue with is in the beginning, whenever Professor Xavier and the X-Men take him into the Ravencroft asylum, I don't know why Professor wouldn't pick up on some of the stuff by reading minds inside there.
He doesn't because that's the way the writers are writing it.
I know that, but you still think they would have how he would explain the why. I guess they're writing like that, but I was kind of how, you know what I mean? How Professor
they could have knew he was coming, and they could have planned to block that.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know,
they should have put something in to make it where it blocked Professor off, where maybe it's hard to see, but still that's what happened to make it not like that.
Well, you got to think though, that's a flashback. He doesn't know what's going on at the time.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's a flashback.
Yeah.
Because when he gets there and it's not Dr. Psycho Man.
Yeah.
With his control box, that is actually the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, he doesn't know that the writers are writing that yet. It's after Psycho Man breaks him and he gets the new voice is where the story actually takes off.
That makes more sense. This is
like you were really lost on this book.
This book is really hard. I mean, somebody don't read Deadpool singly. I used to read Cable and Deadpool all the time.
Well, like I said, it's hard to follow when you're not.
It's really hard if you
don't read between the lines.
Because then I was reading through the book and I'm like, man, I don't know how he's doing all this, but there's still some gaps for me, I guess. My favorite part is definitely either when they hire Taskmaster to check him out, or at the end whenever he he talks to Man-Thing and he basically ports him to our time. I thought that was brilliant at the end because he's going to kill the writers writing him. Which wouldn't that cease Deadpool to exist?
Well,
for that moving forward,
I'll explain that in a minute. You went ahead and jumped on your favorite part. That's what I was going to say. Instead of what's your favorite character, because it's just about Deadpool, I was going to say, what's your favorite murder scene?
Like, oh man,
what was either struck you as the biggest awe, or do you think was the most inventive, or whatever?
Mine is a toss between the Pym particles and Mjolnir, where he stops Thor. Which to me, that don't make any sense in a way, but it's funny because Thor should be able to lift that. It's Mjolnir. It should be nothing to him. Thor's lifted extremely heavy objects before. To me, I thought that was kind of comical because he's like, "Oh yeah, Pym particle, your hammer," and
yeah, he's
bam.
like, "Well, what's harder, you or the hammer?"
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes this hammer's written to be the weight of a dying dwarf star.
Yeah, because that's what it's made from. Yeah,
and you take a hammer this big and you make it the size of a house. You know,
but the magic in it allows him to wield it weightlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's written different ways.
I know.
Sometimes it's written that you can't pick it up because of the magic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's written you can't pick it up because it's the weight of a dying dwarf star.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I'm getting at.
It
It's comical because he basically, Deadpool has the power of a pencil and an eraser while he's doing this. So he's changing the physics of the hammer compared to Thor. Thought that was funny. The other scene is not so much a death, but it's Kitty Pryde being trapped in the mirrors. That's what we're talking about. That's really interesting because she's the only person technically that lives in the book that he was trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
But eventually she would die. But like you had said, all she needs to do is she would just stay still and just phase through the bottom, or instead of trying to go through the mirrors, she would probably escape it.
Yeah.
So those are more my favorite scenes of the book.
You already touched on yours. I'd have to say my favorite scene is one of the only parts of the whole book that made me laugh. Is when he first gets out of the asylum and he grabs the little Cycle Man out of his robot self, and he's just saying whatever he's saying, and then he just wham 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 on the table and smashes it. And that's one of the only parts that made me laugh.
Yep.
And I thought that was hilarious. And that kind of right off the bat shows you how brutal this book's about to be.
Yeah, because when you see Cycle Man, you think he's normal size.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh well, no, he's small. It's like a robot. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I like that part of it.
Basically, there's not a whole lot to talk about in the book. It's just more of death scenes, like you had said. What's your favorite scene? And more in the book is more of I think getting under fans' skin, like the Spider-Man death with the gun, where he's like, I know what everybody's problem is fighting you. They never use a gun. They stick it to us. Say, we know Spider-Man would never do that. When I was reading the book, that's what was pissing me off. Man, Spider-Man should have seen that coming a mile away, you know. And what's also nice during the book is you also see what Spider-Man was doing to take to beat Deadpool too. Like he would actually go that length where he drops him, but he also knows his regeneration.
Yeah.
And then you go through like the Pym particles, and they blow up. They show Wolverine's skeleton there. And I remember reading that thinking, well, that's BS. It's Wolverine. He should already be healing from that. Later on, he does. And then he cuts Wolverine's head off. And a carbonium blade is not going to cut that. It just weakens his healing factor. So the book is more of to get under fans' skin and then show you why it gets under your skin.
Well, I think the book was really trying to drive the nail home that the whole Deadpool is almost dictating the way the writers are writing.
Yes, in a sense,
he's dictating his own book, and I think they were trying to drive that home without just laying it out on the table.
Yeah.
And I picked up on it, and that helped me get over the fact that he killed Spider-Man, that he was able to cut off Wolverine's head, all this stuff. It helped me get in the way he took out Thor and all that. That let me get over that because I understood why they were able to do it, because Deadpool's known for breaking the fourth wall, but now he's doing it to the extreme. He's almost not just breaking it, he's controlling it.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes. And so I really enjoyed that, how they explained without having to explain why Deadpool was able to do what he's doing here.
And they kind of they even with knowing what he's doing, like he knows this has been done before, and he kills Frank Castle. Like, oh, I know this is your thing, but almost like, no, this is the real thing. Yeah. And that was a nice little touch on the book too. Like, hey, you're the only guy that's ever done this. Well, I get to do it now for real. A nice little touch to the book.
Well, what did y'all think about how he took out Dakin and X-23?
Oh, that was
He's like,
nice.
that's how I would take care of myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was actually pretty sweet. And it was actually to lure Wolverine to him in a sense. Yeah. Because he knew that, hey, I knew I wasn't going to get rid of him like that.
And what did you think about that?
Just the same as the rest of them. It's what the writer.
Yeah, well, I can see that ploy working on Wolverine.
Yeah.
I mean, on X-23 and Dakin.
Yeah, I guess you can see that working on them, but it was all right.
Well, that's been around this time, actually might be right before this. I think it's Tomorrow Dies Today. It's in Wolverine Ripping X. They do kind of something like this. It's almost like Terminator. The Deathlocks come to the present where they have taken over the future, and they're trying to stop heroes that are giving them issues in the future. And the main Deathlock is the book, and she winds up being part of the X-Force, is fighting Wolverine. All of a sudden, he's like, not a threat. And Wolverine's like, well, what? Well, then it flashes forward to where he's fighting Wolverine, throws him in a vat of acid. And it just basically neutralizes him because his regeneration is trying to keep up with the acid, and the acid is just eating everything away, and it's just a vicious cycle. And it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. I want to talk about a character that's not a character. That if you read what comes after Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, which is like Deadpool Killography or whatever.
Yeah.
The Red Box has a big part of that.
Really?
And he starts talking to him, and he's a lot more in Deadpool's head. And then Deadpool actually goes to Frankenstein, and he gets there and lays on the table and takes the Red Box out of himself and puts it in Frankenstein, and they're a team up through the book. And they're actually jumping around like killing Little Mermaid. That's who Namor was imagined after. And like they're killing, he's killing the idea of superheroes by jumping to all these different books. And,
so in a sense, he's like killing folklore in a way.
Yes, because he kills the writers, and the character still existed because somebody else took up the mantle.
Wow.
And so he needed to kill the inspiration. And so then he started jumping in, like killing Moby Dick and killing Little Mermaid and all these people, and it's showing. Well, Deadpool can see it. He's seeing how it's how they inspired different characters, and this is all taken by the Red Box. Red Box is like, you know what you have to do. We have to kill more. We have to go deeper. And then he eventually gets Red Box out, and he's Frankenstein, and it's like his own personal little buddy. And I've always said it, since I read it, that if I ever won Worlds in HeroClix and get to build my own figure, I was building Red Box, and he would directly work with Deadpool, because I think that would be a cool little combo.
Oh, that's really cool.
Oh, and then when he dies, he goes back in Deadpool's head.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's a cool little thing.
I'll have to read that. That's pretty interesting. Maybe one day we'll cover that too.
We gotta cover that.
We've
now.
covered that.
I mean,
we talked about it a couple times, but now after I know what Red Box is, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting because to me, this is where Deadpool dies off on me, and then.
Well, I mean, I could actually. There's a couple other things I don't want to spoil, but that you really need to read that part of it to fully get the full benefit of this part. I believe.
Well, maybe in the future we'll cover that. The biggest part of the book is literally the end with Taskmaster, who has a pretty good history with Deadpool. You know, that he's hired, and he knows that it's almost like he thinks he's the only one that can beat him.
I thought that was weird because Taskmaster's always got his ass whooped by Deadpool.
Yeah,
he was the worst person to hire.
Well, yeah, in a sense, but it's not like they do that though.
Yeah, to me, the writers knew it, and this book's all about what the writers are.
Yeah, exactly.
But Deadpool could have dictated that.
Well, in a way, he did.
Yeah, I mean, he could have wanted him to do it because he knew he would be the one to draw up Man-Thing, and so I mean, it's all a cycle.
Yeah, and it's just like with the Nexus of the Realities. He knows that this is what hurts Man-Thing, and I think that's where the whole he wants to end this cycle with everybody dealing with all this pain is through the Man-Thing. Yeah. Because the Man-Thing is used for what Wade is about to use him for. It's like almost like, hey, this is the last time you'll ever have to do this. And it's a really nice ending to the book.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good ending.
And what's nice is it's a legit comic book ability for a guy that they use to bring Deadpool to the real world. So they still kept it the overall story of it being about comics and used it being about comics to get to the world. It's nice. But that's about it for our review of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. I'm Justin Von Doom. He's Hero Man. Seven Great. We're the Villains Man. Watching this on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Send us some tweets. Spread news about the book. We've got quite a few people doing it for us now. Not that we want to be big, but we just want to get out there. Keep reading, guys.